Biden has issued a warning to Israel Prime Minister that occupying Gaza would be a very big mistake. According to Joe Biden, that the Israelites must ensure that they reduce the casualties in Gaza and leave Gaza and not to occupy Gaza. And this comes at a time that many were expecting that Biden will call for a ceasefire. Over 500 top government officials in the U.S. government signed a petition calling for President Biden to force Netanyahu into a ceasefire. But Biden has refused that any ceasefire called by Israel at this moment will be a victory for Hamas and will legitimize Hamas, and that it is Hamas that needs to drop their weapons and to ask for a ceasefire. And as it stands now, Israel continues its bombardment. Watch this video.
Joe Biden has said he had made it clear to Netanyahu that a two-state solution was the only answer to resolve the conflict and that occupying Gaza would be a big mistake. But he stated it was not realistic to expect Tel Aviv to stop its military actions given threats by senior Hamas officials that they intended to attack Israel yet again.
We have to also bear in mind, I made it clear to the Israelis that to Bibi and to his war cabinet that I think the only ultimate answer here is a two-state solution. It's real. We got to get to the point where there is an ability to be able to even talk without worrying about whether or not we're just dealing with, they're dealing with Hamas that's going to engage in the same activities they did over the past, on the 7th. So it's, but I can't tell, I'm not a fortune teller, I can't tell you how long it's going to last. But I can tell you I don't think it ultimately ends until there's a two-state solution. I made it clear to the Israelis I think it's a big mistake for them to think they're going to occupy Gaza and maintain Gaza. I don't think that works.
Biden told reporters he was doing everything in his power to free hostages held by the Hamas militant group in Gaza, but that did not mean sending in the U.S. military. The U.S. president stated he was mildly hopeful that there would be a deal to free Hamas-held hostages in Gaza. Biden disclosed the pause the Israelis have agreed to before cutting off his thought and saying, "I'm going to stop. But I am mildly hopeful that Qatar has led negotiations for the release of hostages and a temporary ceasefire in the war." Now, these were the president's words. The West Asian state is home to the political office of Hamas. We're talking about Qatar here, and it is the main residence of the group's self-exiled leader Ismail Haniyeh. The wealthy Gulf Emirate has used its channels with the militant group, established with U.S. blessing, to play a lead role in the release of 4 of the hostages so far.
I don't want to get ahead of myself here because I don't know what's happened in the last 4 hours, but we've gotten great cooperation from the Qataris. I've spoken with them as well a number of times. I think the pause and that the Israelis have agreed to, it's down to, well, I'm getting too much detail. I know, Mr. Secretary, I'm going to stop. But I am mildly hopeful. I'm mildly hopeful.
Now, the U.S. president affirmed he had asked Israel to be incredibly careful in its military moves around hospitals in the Strip.
They were told, let me be precise. We've discussed the need for them to be incredibly careful.
Tel Aviv says 1,200 people were killed when Hamas militants stormed into Israel on the 7th of October. Israel then launched an unrelenting bombardment of Hamas-ruled Gaza. Late last month, it began an armored invasion of the enclave, where over 11,000 people have been killed till now. Around 40% of those killed are children, with more buried under the rubble.